George Gascon was sworn in as the district attorney of the city of Los Angeles. If you've not heard that name, you should know that Gascon is best known for destroying the city of San Francisco. Under his tenure, San Francisco led the state of California in property crimes and violent crime, but ranked near the bottom in arrests. Gascon's campaign received millions of dollars from George Soros.
And we criminalize behavior largely associated with poverty.
So poor people just can't help themselves. They have to commit crime. They're poor, so this is what they do. That's insulting, of course. When you tell people they're allowed to resist arrest, what are you saying? You're saying that the police have no right to stop crime.
My office will roll out a plan to end money bail in Los Angeles in its entirety. Racism and the death penalty in our country are inextricably intertwined. It is racist. It's off the table in LA County.
We are hearing from the DA's office on that Diaz case. You know, when the district attorney came into office, he said when he put out these directives to prohibit a number of sentencing enhancements that his office is committed to eliminating mass incarceration and fostering rehabilitation for those charged. Today, though, the changes that he has made, the directives on those sentencing enhancements, well, they've been at the center of controversy in a couple of court hearings.
Right now, it feels like we don't have anyone on our side.
Family of 24-year-old Juan Diaz, an off-duty LAPD officer allegedly gunned down in 2019, outside a court hearing this morning arguing directives from the new DA are a blow to justice in their brother's murder case.
With the new DA, it's become a little harder for the victims. We now feel like we are the ones that did something wrong, when in the case we're just literally trying to fight for our brother.
An accused double murderer and gang member has had special charges dropped against him as part of the LA DA George Gascon's new reforms.
The families of those victims are outraged.
This gang member knew he had this money, lured him to the house. They had a weapon hidden in the dryer. The two boys went into the house. The gang member went to the dryer, got the weapon, shot both boys in the head, and then emptied his revolver into my son's torso.
The judge agreed to drop gang enhancements and special circumstances against Gonzalez in accordance with DA George Gascon's new reforms.
When I heard of the special enhancement being removed, I was devastated.
It was as though George Gascon had spit in my face and punched me right straight in the stomach and knocked the wind out of me.
A lawyer for the family saying the prosecutors moved to throw out enhancements for weapons and gang affiliation, which could result in stiffer sentences for the defendants if convicted, in line with Gascon's new directives. The Association of Deputy District Attorneys for LA County had a hearing in a lawsuit where they are suing their new boss.
I never envisioned in my 22 years in the office that we would be in this place.
The lawsuit argues new DA policies, including a prohibition of certain sentencing enhancements, require prosecutors to violate the law.
So we're asking a court to give us guidance. Do we follow the directives of our office and violate the law, or do we follow the law and violate the directives of our office?
She says a major concern, a change that prevents tougher sentences for repeat offenders.
One of the key directives that we feel violates the law is the prohibition against filing allegations of prior strikes under the 3 strikes law.
His policies put victims first. I'd like your response to that.
No, that's a lie. That's not true. And I can say that face to face to him.
I say that is totally wrong. Mr. Gascon seems to care a lot more for the criminals than he does for us victims.
George Gascon's office has told us just because somebody gets a parole hearing does not mean they're going to be released. They say it only happens about 15% of the time, but Gascon's critics say that number is going to go up because George Gascon does not allow his prosecutors to attend those parole hearings. This morning, at his 3rd parole hearing, Jones, now 50 years old, was found to be suitable for parole by the state. And as part of DA George Gascon's reforms, prosecutors from the LA DA's office were not allowed to attend that hearing with Baker's family to advocate that Jones stay behind bars.
To not have that today made a huge difference. We felt like we were on our own little island. It was very frustrating, and it's not fair. Nobody should have to go through this alone. I'm extremely frustrated and angry. How do you put a price on a human life, let alone 2 human lives? This guy can go free after killing 2 people and have a life, and he still gets to talk to his family? No, I'm not cool with it at all.
Diane says Jones showed no remorse at the hearing today and had his own public defender with him, while the family had nobody.
LA County Sheriff Alex Villanueva taking exception to a recent directive from new DA George Gascon when it comes to parole hearings. Gascon recently ended the long-standing practice of having the DA's office have a representative at parole hearings. Today, the sheriff says if members of the DA's office won't attend hearings, representatives from his sheriff's department will go instead.
The district attorney is elected not to appear in these, and that's his prerogative for his agency. However, we are not going to abandon victims of crime. We're going to stand with them shoulder to shoulder, and any help they need in this process, we will be there to represent them.
The victim's voice needs to be heard.
Today, LA County Sheriff Alex Villanueva sent George Gascon this letter, notifying him that he will begin sending LASD detectives to parole hearings as long as Gascon keeps blocking his own prosecutors from attending them.
Victims should never, ever be alone. They need to have somebody with them in these adversarial settings where they have to come into contact with the same person who victimized them or killed their loved one, for example. Why on earth would we want them to be alone in this process?
I don't understand, Mr. Gascon, how you can do this to families. There are others out there that are going to be going through the same thing, and it's not fair that they don't have the rights that the criminals do. How dare you?